Hello, boys and girls. This is Miss Gardner. I am back to pick right back up with the one and only Ivan. Here we go. Ivan, Bob, I blink. The dawn sky is a smudge of gray flecked with pink, like a picture drawn with two crayons. I can just make out Ruby in the shadows, waving hello with her trunk. Are you awake? Ruby asks. We are now, says Bob. Aunt Stella's still asleep, and I don't want to wake her because she said her foot was hurting, and I'm really, Ruby pauses for a breath, really bored. Bob opens one eye. You know what I do when I'm bored? What? Ruby asks eagerly. Bob closes his eyelid. I sleep. It's a little too early, Ruby, I say. I'm used to getting up early. Ruby wraps her trunk around one of the bars on her door. At my old circus, we always got up when it was still dark, and then we had breakfast and we walked in a circle. And then they chained my feet up, and that really hurt. Ruby falls silent. Instantly, Bob is snoring. Ivan, Ruby asks, do you know any jokes? I especially like jokes about elephants. Well, let me see. I heard Mac tell one once. I yawn. Oh, how can you tell that an elephant has been in the refrigerator? How? By the footprints in the butter. Ruby doesn't react. I sit up on my elbows, try not to disturb Bob. Get it? What's a refrigerator? Ruby asks. It's a human thing, a cold box with a door. They put food inside. They put food inside the door or food inside the box? And is it a big box, Ruby asks, or a little box? I can see this is going to take a while. So I sit up all the way. Bob slides off grumbling. I reach for my pencil, the one I snapped in half with my teeth. Here, I say, I'll draw you a picture of one. In the dim light, it takes me a minute to find a piece of paper Julia gave me. The paper is a little damp and has a smear of something orange on it. I think it's from a tangerine. I try my best to make a refrigerator. The broken pencil is not cooperating, but I do what I can. By the time I'm done, the first streaks of morning sun have appeared in flashy cartoon colors. I hold up my picture for Ruby to see. She studies it intently. Her head turns so that one black eye is trained on my drawing. Wow, you made that? Is this the thing you were telling me about before? Art? Sure is. I can draw all kinds of things. I'm especially good at fruit. How can you draw a banana right now? Ruby asked. Absolutely, I can. I turn the page over and sketch. Wow, Ruby says again in an all voice. And when I hold up the page, it looks like enough to eat. She makes a happy littling sound, an elephant laugh. It's like the song of a bird I recall from long ago, a tiny yellow bird with a voice like a dancing water. Strange. I've forgotten all about that bird. How she how she'd wake me up every morning at dawn when I was still curled safely in my mother's nest. It's a good feeling making Ruby laugh. So I draw another piece and another picture and another picture along the edges of the paper, an orange, a candy bar, a carrot. What are you two up to? Stella asks, moaning as she tries to move her sore foot. How are you this morning? I ask. Just feeling my age, Stella says. I'm fine. Ivan is making me pictures, Ruby says, and he told me a joke. I really like Ivan, and Stella. Stella winks at me. Me too, she says. Ivan, want to hear my favorite joke? Ruby asked. I heard it from Maggie. She was one of the giraffes in my old circus. Sure, I say. It goes like this. Ruby clears her throat. What do elephants have that nothing else has? Trunks, I think, but I don't answer because I don't want to ruin Ruby's fun. I don't know, Ruby, I reply. What do elephants have that nothing else has? Baby elephants, Ruby says. Good one, Ruby, I say, watching Stella stroke Ruby's back with her trunk. Good one, Stella says softly. Once I asked Stella if she'd ever had any babies. She shook her head. I never had the opportunity. You would have made a great mother, I told her. Thank you, Ivan, Stella said, clearly pleased. I like to think so. Having young ones is a big responsibility. You have to teach them how to take mud baths, of course, and emphasize the importance of fiber in their diet. She looked away, contemplating. Elephants are excellent at contemplating. I think the hardest part of being a parent, Stella added after a while, will be keeping your baby safe from harm, protecting them. The way silverbacks do in the jungle, I say. Exactly, Stella nodded. You would have to be good at protecting too, I said confidently. I'm not too sure. Oh, I'm not so sure, Stella said, gazing at the iron bars surrounding her. I'm not sure at all. Mac and George are chatting while George cleans one of my windows. George, Mac says, frowning, there's something wrong with the parking lot. George sighs. I'll take a look at it as soon as I'm done with this window. What's the problem? There are cars in it. That's what's wrong. Cars, George! Mac breaks into a grin. I think things are actually starting to pick up a bit. It's gotta be the billboard. People see that the baby elephant, they just have to stop and spend their hard earned cash. I hope so, George says. We sure could use the business. Mac's right. I have noticed more visitors coming since he and George added the picture of Ruby to the sign. People crowd around Ruby and Stella's domain, oohing and eyeing at the sight of such a tiny elephant. I gaze out at the huge sign that makes humans stop and spend their hard earned cash. I have to admit that the picture of Ruby is rather cute, even if she doesn't look like a real elephant. I wonder if Matt could add a little red hat and a curly tail to the picture of me. Maybe then more visitors would stop by my domain. I could use a few oohs and ahs myself.